welcome back to another episode of World of Tanks and Guinea Titan, and I want to showcase the Boilermaker again, the Fisherman Firefly Boilermaker. Boilermaker is just a nickname from a tank from the comic series, or a comic series, a World of Tanks related comic series that Dark Horse Comics had there a couple of years ago. Presumably sponsored by Wargaming. And I find it's a good tank, but it is played best more often, I think, as a tank destroyer rather than playing it as a medium tank. Maybe when it's top tier, sometimes. It's really bad at firing on the move. In fact, I have another first class mastery game, I won't be showing it, where I play very, very well until the end, where I go full potato and die. Doesn't cost the team the game though. The other tank managed to recover my mistake, but the big mistake was that I attempted to take out the last remaining enemy tank on the move, because I caught the open, and instead of stopping and actually realising that I could take the hit, at least one of them, I try and shoot him on the move with the 17 pounder. Now it's a very good gun when you're sitting still, and it aims in reasonably quickly when you're actually not moving, but you got a lot of bloom when you're moving, and it can be very, very chancy. Very chancy on snapshots as well on the auto aim. You really need to give the gun the time to aim in, but once you do, it actually performs very well. It's got good penetration, and damage output is low, but it's got a very rapid rate of fire. The other thing that I've been noticing is that some of the maps these days are promoting people aren't covering the map. This is a case in point. Fisherman's Bay is actually particularly bad, it seems to be, the moment for limbing trains, and it seems to be like, it's not that there's a universal limbing train festival or something on at the moment, it's just that they seem to be focused on certain maps. This is the regular spawn on the regular spawn on Fisherman's Bay isn't as bad, but there seems to be a lot more tendency now to go the western side rather than through the town. Before, as 2 or 3 years ago, it was all the heavy tanks to the town, the tank destroyers would camp up here at the corner, and the medium tanks would try and push down the western side of the map, and then some of the mediums and the lights would be playing peekaboo around the centre. This game started off slightly differently in that you had heavies playing peekaboo around the centre, and you've got heavies on the enemy side as well. There's actually a KV2 up there. Tank destroyers as well. Now, the tank destroyers, in my opinion, are better off. The thing about the centre here is that it's very hard to cross the ridgeline. I think it's actually easier to take the town, the centre of the map, from east-west, starting in the port and coming up, or starting on the other side and coming up. But usually to start on the other side, you have to clear up that, where those light tanks, the tank destroyer is, you have to clear out the area around the windmill. I'm encouraging our mediums to pull back, because any moment now they're going to be flanked on the town side. We had nobody stopping. We had nobody in the town really, so we've no real idea who's coming through the town. But there's bound to be someone, because at this stage of the game, someone's going to sort of figure it out or have a go at it, because there's not enough tanks identified. We've got one tank and a light tank against 3 heavies and a tank destroyer effectively. Okay, supported up by a tank destroyer now. But there's a lot of tanks kind of unaccounted for, and some of them are bound to be in the port, and they're bound to turn up in the cap circle, because there's nobody down there to spot them. And the thing is, they can come through the cap circle from the north and then shoot down into the centre of the town, so that medium down there, his position becomes totally unviable, the T-34-85. Now, the KV2 gives me an opportunity to get a shot in, which is well worth it. At KV2, he's a good player. I mean, he's still alive at the stage of the game. He's been out there in the open, in the middle of the town. It's kind of a difficult spot to run with a good medium tank, and with a KV2 with a slow turret rotation and slow speed of the tank, relatively speaking, overall, compared to the some of the mediums and stuff like that to hold that position to operate a KV-2 and be still alive and still in good health at this stage of the game. It actually speaks of a very good player. Now, there's enemies in the cap circle. There are 2 of them in there. They're capping fast. They do deceptively fast, and I'm not helped by the fact that the T-150 has come with me, drove into the side there and slowed me down, because I think he was just more interested in what was trying to get a shot at what's going on in the town. Now, the Ram 2, maybe, no, the T-150's in the cap circle, but I don't understand their trade shots with the T-150. That has substantially reduced the cap, so the Chi-Nu was probably the first in the cap circle that had the most capture points. I'm going to get another shot at the Chi-Nu. Not going to make a lot of difference in capture points because he's not accumulating them. The Ram, yeah, obviously doesn't have many capture points either. The remaining capture points are held by the T-150. Now, our T-150 shouldn't have gone into the middle. There was absolutely no need for him to go in there and expose himself to all the enemy tanks at once. Because the enemy T-150 was going to give as good as he got anyway. They're capable of bouncing quite a lot of shots. If he was moving around and wiggling his turret a bit more between shots, he would probably bounce one of my shots as well. He has taken out our T-150, and the main reason he's down to a one-shot kill is because he was giving me the flat side of the turret and he wasn't making it difficult for me to shoot him. Whereas if he moved around a bit more there, wasn't so static in that fight. And in fact, I think the big problem there actually in that fight was that the enemy T-150 was trying to preserve his capture points. He stayed in that little hidey hole rather than bringing his tank to bear on the enemy tanks earlier. As soon as we rolled into the cap circle, as soon as we reset the cap the first time, those 3 tanks should have been going straight for a gated cover. Don't worry about any remaining capture points and just kill the 3 tanks that are facing them rather than prioritizing trying to preserve capture points. Now, one could say, I suppose, that they did target one tank and focus fire on that. They did target the toughest of the 2 tanks as well. And I probably have a better DPM than the T-150. So we did 2,000 damage, 250 assisted damage. We got a first class mastery, 4 kills, 16 penetrations. And a defender medal. Full 100 points. So that's probably from the accumulated combination of what the Chi-Nu had and the T-150. And we managed to squeeze in there number 1 by experience. Some pretty stiff competition actually there from the Absolution. That's a pretty good score for Sturm VK. Keep it alive as well at the end of the game. I did not like that tank. Shout out to the enemy KV-1 actually did very well. 2,580 now. Admittedly, there's not a huge amount of penetrations, but to keep a KV-1 alive in an open field, or a KV-2, sorry, alive in an open field with that long reload, was actually pretty good going. Now, we're in a slightly different situation. We're not too different. We're in, what is it? Hidden Village, which is a much more difficult map really to figure out what to do with a Fisherman Firefly. The thing is, it is top tier, so you could probably try it more with the medium role in top tier. The problem is with the Firefly, I find playing it as a medium tank is that the performance of the gun on the move is actually quite poor, and the armor. It's a tier 5 Sherman, essentially, with a tier 7 gun, really. But the problem is it's a tier 5 Sherman, which is, they're not exactly fast, they're not particularly slow either. There's lots of medium tanks that are kind of similar performance, but they're very lightly armoured in comparison to other tier 6 tanks. They won't bounce shots in the way, say, that T-3485s will, or even the German Panzer 3, Panzer 4s. Although some of those aren't exactly great for It depends on whether the people know whether they're shooting at or not. Like the Hellcat now is showing far too much side of the vehicle there, and somebody just derped for the remainder of his health, because Hellcats are particularly vulnerable to HE. If somebody has got a good HE round, they can take out a Hellcat because it's an open-topped vehicle. Actually, I remember hearing a story on the Normandy landings, like somebody a landing with a Hellcat and driving ashore, losing the driver's okay, but the turret crew get completely wiped out. Somebody, German trooper with a hand grenade, and he goes back to base, gets I think it was a Canadian unit, picks up another crew, and comes back a couple of hours later with that crew also had been wiped out by somebody tossing a hand grenade, and after that he had to transfer to a different regiment because nobody would go out with him. He was considered to be a bad look. So we're getting some more shots off here. Now our team seems to be reasonably well dispersed. On the other hand, they don't seem to be terribly effective. I mean, we have the numerical advantage up here as far as I can see, but we're not pressing it or making it count in terms of damage to the enemy. Now, I don't have a great angle on that Fury. However, I see the shots are going high as well. KV-85, I don't think I have a shot on him. Since the position has collapsed. We're tanked down at the moment. Our two guys now at the edge of the town should have been pulling away back into the base zone, or someplace where they wouldn't get caught in the crossfire. And we have no more. Let's see, is there any more chances around here? I don't think there's anybody else trying us. So it's 2v2 over there and 2v1 there. And then they've broken through in the centre, so I think I'm going to help the centre. We're 2 tanks down. Let's see if we can rectify that. There is the KV2. We've tracked him. Let's see if we can get an engine fire or something. Get him out of the way as quickly as possible. He is far enough of the way that if he doesn't move or shoot, I won't see him. We're still 2 tanks down, but we're losing tanks with 3 tanks down. Missed a shot there on the KV2. That went over the back of the engine deck, and we got him. Now his body has just disappeared, and we are now we're 4 tanks down. And losing tanks, like every time I'm saying that as well. We have a Jumbo, Firefly. Was that the same Firefly? The shot fell short. I actually was a bit too hurried in firing it. You know, sort of regret that possibly later. And there goes our Hellcat. So I'm going to back up, let the Fisherman come out and see if I can see the side now. Bounce one off the side of the turret. The sides of the turret are pretty tough here. The side of this tank itself is easy enough to get through. That's not very heavily armoured. I think it's with the usual 50mm or something like that. He's too well angled there for me to get a shot off from the front or the sides. Certainly not with regular ammo. We've tracked him, and we have enough of his sights showing that I should be able to penetrate the side here. And he's not actually doing anything bad to me. He's just shooting in my tracks so far. Now I think I have somebody coming around the other side here, and sure enough, there's the Fury, another Fury. It's probably the one I was shooting at earlier. He has got a shot in. Now I should have probably kept going here, but tanks in front of me and tanks behind me, so I actually need to keep going forward, preferably out of the firing arc of the T-67 before he shoots me to death. We've got the guy behind me, or in front of me rather, and the guy behind me has me almost gone. Engine damaged. I now can't get away from people. This is going to slow the tank up. That was enemy artillery, that was a close one. I could really have done some with help with my own artillery. No evidence of my own artillery firing at anyone. I'm stuck in the mountain here, and we're in trouble because that bit of forward momentum brought us into the range of the T-34S. like I said, I really could have done with artillery support there. Now, I suppose he couldn't have shot at the T-34S because nobody had spotted him until I saw him. But I don't fancy his chances getting either a direct hit. Is his HE round big enough? I think he needed a direct hit near enough maximum die roll to take him out. He fires, he misses completely. And the T-34S will have reloaded far, far ahead. Besides, the Quill, it doesn't maneuver very well at all. So we've lost that one. But the Firefly did well. I mean, well, I suppose, yes, I could have probably played a different part of the map and it might have made a more significant effect. We got ourselves a high caliber. Got ourselves an ace tanker, top gun. Came number 1 by experience, did more than twice as much damage as the next highest damage dealer in our team, so not sure if I could have done much more on that one. Except maybe a bit more positional awareness. I suppose if I had left the position earlier and actually went down. Went down to assist in the centre fight a little bit earlier. Might have been able to maybe get an extra bit of damage or a tank kill, and that might have made a significant difference to the outcome. One has to make decisions pretty quickly in World of Tanks. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all again soon. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like, comment, share. It really helps the channel out. And if you have not already done so, please subscribe to the channel. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.